Hello, this is Dan, just at the start of the episode to say this episode is sponsored by my comic book series Grey, which is currently funding on Kickstarter. The link is in the description, or you'll hear a bit more about it later in the episode. Hello, and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan.
I'm Michael.
I'm Helena.
And for this episode, we watched Charlie's Angels, brackets 2000. I hadn't seen this before.
What?
Yeah, I might have caught little bits of it, but I don't think I'd properly seen this before.
How?
I am now so scared about what you're going to think. Because historically on this thing, we've learned that if you didn't watch these kinds of films when you were younger, they're awful to watch now. Before we get you sort of, Helena, what do you think about this film?
Love it. Saw it a lot as a kid.
Fucking incredible, isn't it? It's so good. Watched it so much as a kid. Had it on video. Had this one and Full Throttle on video. Watched it all the time. Dan, you need to watch Charlie's Angels Full Throttle. It's just as great.
It's better.
We'll do the sequel.
It's better. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it anyway.
It did really put me in the mood to actually watch the second one.
A lot of the stuff I thought was in this one was in the second one. And I was a bit disappointed it didn't happen. But yeah, I love this film as a kid. This film was my favorite film as a kid, which I never wanted to admit it because it's Charlie's Angels.
I thought it was great. I'm pretty sure we played Charlie's Angels at school.
Yeah.
And we watched it a lot. Everyone had great fun being spies.
None of my friends liked it none of my friends talked about it because they were boys. Dan, tentatively, what did you think about this film?
Really good, but some glaring issues.
Yeah.
A lot of it did not age well.
Yeah, I could have had a bingo card of how many different races they dress up as.
Yeah.
Which is
always. So it's the worst question you can ever ask a film. Was it blackface?
Was it blackface? Was it yellow face? Was it Indian face? Was it the several other types?
Well, they never.
No, they never used
outwardly
makeup.
Changed the color of their skin. They never wore makeup to do it, or made jokes about it.
Yeah, it was always cover.
Do you know what it was? Right, do you know what it was? It was when you dress up as someone in Hitman.
Yeah.
And you're just you, but in some different clothes. That's what it seemed to be.
Apart from right at the start, where she was dressed up as a sort of African.
Yeah, she was in a Mission Impossible style mask.
So this is the big thing about this film for me is it's so over the top because this whole film is ridiculous. This whole film is so ridiculous. It is so over the top and so incredibly 2000s that it feels like a parody of itself.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this actually supposed to be satire or a parody?
No.
Or is it just a ridiculously over the top?
I think it's meant to
2000s action movie.
I think it's meant to be a bit of a parody because the director is the same person that made the Babysitter films.
I think it's a bit more self-aware. It knows that it's preposterous. It knows that it's silly. It knows that the costumes are ridiculous.
It's hitting all of the tropes.
Yeah, it's not satire.
No, but it's really swinging at the tropes and making them very obvious.
Yeah.
It plays into them very nicely.
Yeah, and it definitely didn't age well. And let's acknowledge all of the issues because there are a lot of them. Yeah, the weird race changing. One race changing. The other one's it's dressing up in clothes and kind of
sort of just your run of the mill cultural appropriation.
Standard 2000s film cultural appropriation. Wearing geisha makeup.
It's nothing. It's not as bad as Adam Sandler.
No, nowhere near. It's again not the worst film from that time. It feels like a parody of those films. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, it really does. I couldn't tell watching it if it was supposed to be.
The worst example is when they're dressed up in vaguely Asian uniforms and it plays Turning Japanese in the background. That's the worst. I think that's the worst it gets to. In this was
the kind of mistake. Belly dancing costumes were also not great.
Yeah, they weren't great. They did also dress as men at one point as well.
Yeah, it's kind of
they're breaking into the
but it's when they're undercover. It's not, but it happens when they're undercover. That's pretty bad.
I didn't know going in if this was going to be more of a female empowerment kind of movie, but
Swings
it
in the
is
middle,
very
doesn't
much
it?
directed by a man.
It is.
Like,
Oh,
But
it's a sexy female empowerment movie.
yeah.
But it's so obvious it feels like a joke.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like-
It's that weird kind of border.
Like the amount of
it's
times
been-
Lucy Liu swishes her hair.
Yeah, and it feels like an in-joke. And then you have Cameron Diaz playing a clever idiot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the trope of the clever idiot. And she dances, like one of the first things you see her do is she dances in her underwear in front of a camera, literally looking at her ass as she dances.
Yeah.
In the mirror. And it's kind of like, that's weird.
Yeah. And then there's the bit later where she's dancing. She's on a date and she gets invited to dance on a stage because she kind of, obviously she looks quite pretty,
Yeah.
but she can't dance
and
for
she
toffee.
can't dance. Yeah.
And they're all like, record scratch, this is bad. But then they all
Yeah.
kind of get into it and she runs them around and then they start chanting, go white girl, or like,
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it is Soul Train that she's at.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre and it's so weird, and yeah, a lot of it's really bad, and a lot of the representation of the three main characters is kind of like, oh, none of those are great representations of women, but also they kind of feel like jokes in themselves. It's so confusing.
Yeah, they're very
what
kind of
it
like
feels.
stereotypical. I wasn't entirely sure who was going to be in this, so the main three is Cameron Diaz, Lucy Liu, and Drew Barrymore.
Yes. Brilliantly,
And then-
like so well cast for them
Yeah,
as well.
definitely.
As like when you
Like-
get past all the awful stuff, very well cast.
So Charlie's Angels was originally
70s
a
TV show.
Yeah, TV show.
Yeah, which is what I think where the theme's music is the 70s from the 70s TV show.
Yeah. It reminds
also-
me, it's kind of an American version of, what did we have? The Avengers, but not those Avengers.
The Avengers,
The Avengers.
the ones that don't assemble.
Also appearing in this movie, Joey from Friends.
Oh yeah, that I'd totally forgotten
he is
about.
dating Lucy Liu.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
thanks in this.
Uh,
Again, this film
He's an
wild
actor.
cast.
He might genuinely just be the character of Joey. This and Friends could exist in the same universe,
Yeah.
I don't
and
think
nothing would change.
any of these characters are in.
No, none of them.
I don't
are
think
in
any of these
Friends,
actors
it's
are in
fine.
Friends at any point.
No,
So they
you
could.
get Bill Murray is. I don't know any of the characters' names. I've just got actors written down.
Bosley.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Bosley.
Bosley. Okay, yep. Sam Rockwell. He is the guy that's being kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't expecting Tim Curry in it either.
Yeah, Tim Curry's great in that.
Oh, he's fantastic. He meets a grisly end.
He's introduced in a very Tarantino.
God,
style.
yeah,
Like,
It's so weird.
yeah. It's my comment for that was just foot fetish much.
Yeah, 100%.
there's also Marty McFly's dad as the Thin Man.
Yeah, that Thin Man. I
Brilliantly
mean, and
cast.
what a facial expression.
Yeah,
Thin Man's so
I-
good.
actually saved a letterboxd review to read out, which is I'm 100% certain that Crispin Glover can actually do all that shit in real life, and that's why I would be fucking terrified if I ever saw him in the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just
Oh.
he looked
That
like
sounds
he was
about right.
either about to cry or about to come. Like the entire time he was on screen.
Yeah, and they never lean one way or the other. It's
He never
amazing.
quite gets there.
I'm quite sure who he is either. Like he's
Yeah,
just
why?
creepy
Yeah, what's
Thin
his
Man.
job?
What's he there for?
He's there for a wire work fight scene.
Ah, the wirework fight scenes are incredible.
Yes.
I stand by, like, they're awful in terms of like fight scene. Awful. They're so
Yeah.
cool and dynamic
They're so
and
fun. Like, also just a fight scene to the Prodigy track "Smack My Bitch Up"
Topped it. The
while they're having a fight scene.
next
Was
episode,
great.
the music in this film is incredible.
It's
The soundtrack.
Apart
just
from that one
slaps.
scene where it took place in Turning Japanese, that was a weird choice. But the
Yeah.
the music in this film, because it is pop music, it is rock music, and it is
it
like
feels
heavy
like a
music.
real naughty. Well, yeah, late '90s noughties time capsule.
where they just
Yeah.
played. They just got copyrights to every song and played 20 seconds of it.
Yeah.
And it does it so quickly. So the film starts. We get an introduction to the three main characters.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't remember any of the names, but
Natalie, Alex, and the other one.
Yeah.
Lucy
Drew
Liu,
Bar-
Drew
so-
Barrymore, and Cameron Diaz.
yeah. So the first one we get introduced to Drew Barrymore, who is in a ship, in like a boat with a guy who calls himself Chad. The Chad.
I think he calls his dick Chad.
No, he just calls himself it, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like she, as like a character, she genuinely likes this guy, but she just kind of uses him throughout the film.
Yeah,
he's like,
I think she likes him, but she can tell it's not really going anywhere.
Yeah, and he's like, was it when she leaves at the beginning? He's like, was it the cooking? No. Was it the breakfast? No. Was it the chat? And she's like, it was maybe the chat.
Because she gets called and like called in. Basically, we've got a job.
Yeah,
and that's how they're all brought in.
So that's her, and then we get to Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
In her house, she wakes. Well, she has a dream where she's dancing.
Oh yeah, she has a dream where she's dancing really well.
And then she wakes up and she can't dance, and she's dancing half naked in front of a mirror, being really excited, and it feels like a parody.
Yeah, she's wearing weird knickers as well. I know it's the noughties and like fashion rules are there to be broken, but yeah, they're like weird sort of boxer style briefs with like a Y front pouch for your willy.
Yeah,
and then like loads of writing on the back.
Yep, and then handsome delivery guy gives her a package.
Yeah, and she's like, you can just put it through my slot.
Yep, she's like accidentally flirting with him.
Which she can't flirt. She's a fantastic spy, but she can't flirt.
She doesn't know how to like interact with people properly. She's ditzy blonde. Yeah. She's intelligent idiot kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Trope. And then we get introduced to Lucy Liu's character, who is girlfriend to Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Yeah, dating Joey from Friends.
Is in their trailer, because he's shooting, and they're like going through lines.
And the same they do the same thing like 3 times throughout the film, where they are like intensely talking to each other. The camera's really close. It's like, holy shit. And it turns out they're just reading lines because he's an actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she can't cook. That's her like other character trait.
Yep. And she's a tech whiz and knows it because again, Asian character knows.
She knows how to defuse bombs and stuff.
Yeah. Her cover is she's a bikini waxer.
Yeah, and she kind of wants to tell him.
Yeah, she wants. So yeah, in the office they'll get together, and she wants to because the relationship between the Charlie's Angels is actually really sweet.
Yeah, they all really like and support each other.
Yeah, they're like
care. Sisters.
They throw Lucy Liu's.
Yeah, Lucy Liu brings some cakes in that are not edible by the looks of things.
Weapons.
They fling it at the wall and it gets stuck in the drywall.
Yeah, and then we get introduced to Charlie, who is a random voice on a phone.
Yep. And Fosley. Is it Fosley or Bosley?
Bosley. Who is like the person that speaks to Charlie, who is like a bit of an idiot.
Yeah, Bosley. Bill Murray.
Not a spy. Not a spy, just a guy.
He's their handler.
Yeah. He's just a dude. And yeah, it's so good. This film's what's wild, and then it introduces them as Charlie's Angels, and it goes through. There were 3 very different girls, and it gives like each a bit of their character. Where like Cameron Diaz is driving a car on its side, and
with like massive headgear.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore's starting a fire.
She's just smoking in the toilets.
Yeah, Lucy Liu's like rich, playing croquet,
doing dressage.
Yeah, and what I love about that, and this is like throughout the entire film, there is pop music playing constantly.
Yeah.
And it changes so far. So each of those scenes, they're about 10 seconds each. And every time it is a different pop song.
Yeah.
This film has so many record scratches to different songs. It's fucking incredible. And then when it finishes those 3 songs, it goes to a different song to introduce all of them. And then it stops. It does 4 songs in about 30 seconds. And I wish films did that more.
Like, I didn't expect the amount of needle drops in this, but it was great.
Top tier.
Yeah. And so they're told their mission is that Sam Rockwell has been kidnapped by a company because they want to steal his technology.
Yeah, he has voice activated, and he has voice analysts, which will essentially allow them to find anyone anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the CEO of the company was also there when it happened, and Cameron Diaz is just jokingly like, oh, it was her then. And then she walks in and is like, well,
you should end that there.
Yeah, she was like, well, this should be very easy for you to catch me then.
And spoilers, she was right.
Well, yeah.
She was correct.
It was a red herring.
Though, if it was true.
No, it wouldn't have the twist.
Yeah, we'd be wrapping up now.
Yeah. I can't even remember. I watched it earlier. So much happens in this film. And I don't mean story-wise. The story's pretty simple. Visually.
Yeah.
So much happens.
Shall we do story... Just try and get the plot out of the way so we can talk about the scenes.
Yeah.
So the plot is he's been kidnapped. They find him by chase... Like they get the information about where out of the bad guy, who they assume is the bad guy, his only enemy, this guy that owns technology that has like satellite technology, which is important because it comes up later.
Yeah.
They notice that there's this man that they find in a zoom and enhance scene.
Mm-hmm.
The most incredibly unrealistic scene in the whole movie.
Yeah.
There's a reflection in a car windscreen, zoom and enhance, and it's a really good picture.
Again.
Yeah, it just prints out like a crisp photo of this. They called him like the creepy thin man.
Yeah.
And that's all he's ever called until I think the last minute of the second film.
Yeah.
This film has to be a satire, doesn't it? Like, it has to be.
So they chase him, and he vanishes. They have a big fight, but he vanishes into like this kind of building, and they find instead the tech guy that they were. The
best fucking fight scene in the film, and I genuinely believe that this is the best fight scene. When they're fighting Creepy Thin Man.
Yes.
And he rips some of their hair out.
And just sniffs it.
Yeah, it sniffs it and gives it a weird look.
Like I said, he always looks like he's about to come or about to cry.
Yeah.
And in that scene, it's come.
But it is set to Magma Bitch Up.
Yeah.
By The Prodigy. And
it just gives it a very surreal vibe. Anyway, we'll talk about
hectic energy. And it's such like weird wire work and this happens a lot, where they just kind of jump kick and scream and then fly for a bit.
Yes. So they go back to Charlie and they're like, well, we got him back, everything's great. And they're like, yeah, that's fantastic, but you've only done half a job because they've still got the technology of his that they stole. So they're like, okay, we've got to break in. So they work out how to break in. They break in, they get the technology, and then...
Oh, before they break in, they infiltrate a racetrack so they can like dress up as pit stop people and stuff, and then they're trying to get into the briefcase.
Oh, yeah.
You end up with Cameron Diaz and the Thin Man having a race around the car, like around the track. And then having a face-off on a bridge.
Yep, obviously, because that's how F1 works.
Like, there's a
cars
huge pile-up at one point, and then they, like, just both drive directly at each other, and the Thin Man shoots into the ocean.
Yeah.
But that's never called back to again, the multiple car accidents they caused by driving Formula 1
because one of those cars like rolls so far,
and
it's like that person, and it like the front crumples. You're like, if there's a person in there, that person is dead.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they break in, they get the technology, and then one of the angels
getting the technology. That's some of the best things in the entire film.
I'm just trying to get the plot done.
But I want to talk about the film.
Okay.
So they have to get the technology by going to. They have to do like 3 different things.
Yeah.
They have to
So first they dress up as Indians, and then they dress up as Germans, and then.
Well, they have to. Yeah, they have to scan like the eyes of every.
Yeah, they need a retina and a full handprint.
Yeah, of every single of like 3.
It's 2 people, isn't it?
2 bosses.
People.
Because it's got that nuclear lock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they go into the office, and Lucy Liu's fucking incredible in that scene.
Yeah.
When
so they get the first
McCarthy.
one. Yeah. Yeah, she's in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first one's the sort of problematic one, is where they're belly dancers at a club and like take a beer bottle that he's just been grasping to get his handprint.
Yeah.
And then the other dude, this is the most preposterous one. They're a sexy band. It's like, what? Why? And then you find out why. It's because Bosley's got a retina scanner in the tuba.
I have no problem with that.
And they take such a massive risk because they turn. I think, was there a scene where they find out that he's got like an Oompa band fetish or something? I don't know, because they're like, well, what does he like? And it's like, it says like they deliver it as a card, and it's like clearly addressed to someone else, and they're like, oh, it's not for them, should be. And he's like, don't.
His friend's like, his friend's like, this clearly isn't for us. He's telling me, he's like, wait, give it a minute.
And like they're in Bavarian kind of
clothing,
but it's all very short and sexy with their knickers showing, and
they're
all putting on really bad German accents. I just think, honestly, Oompa Band's not very sexy.
No.
It felt a bit forced.
Skimpy outfit, and it was weird, and it's great because it's fucking bizarre.
Yeah, no, it cracks me up. Like, it's just so like, what? Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
And I guess they just decided that that was enough, because it's made very apparent that they need the handprint and the retina scan of both people, but you only see them getting one of each.
Well, no,
which is fine.
I thought it was the retina scan of one person and the handprint of the other.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which, yeah, they make like a contact and a glove kind of thing.
Yeah, because I was wondering how they were going to get the fingerprints of someone when they're dressed up as like a German band.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we have the Lucy Liu scene in the office where she's essentially a dominatrix.
Yes, she's an office dom, and it's pretty hot. Like
It's
the leather, she's in like a really tight leather outfit, and it's like scrunching against her skin as she's walking down the road, down the hallway.
And she's just shouting.
And she's like really mean to Melissa McCarthy. She just calls her a bitch.
Yeah.
I was like, to be fair, she's got balls. That like.
Yeah. And she's just like, "Do you? Does anyone have a suggestion?"
She's like, "I'm here for office efficiency, like the office efficiency supervisor or something." So they get them all into a lecture hall.
Yeah, and she's just shouting, we're stifling and our enemies are innovating. Does anyone have a suggestion?"
And she like pushes that guy into her boobs, and it's really weird.
Yeah, it's like.
But these guys are like falling in love. There's a sort of, it's pretty sad that they're like, this is potentially the sexiest thing these tech developers have ever seen, because it's all programmers.
What song is it set to? Because again, it's set to a perfect song.
Barracuda by.
That's when she's dancing.
That's when she's still. No, that's when she's walking through the office to start with.
Yeah, it's set to Barracuda. That whole scene.
So I'm getting Barracuda confused with Baby Got Back because of the Anaconda song.
Yeah, but Baby Got Back is also in this. That's what Cameron Diaz is dancing to later.
It's Barracuda's only played for like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
When I say set to, I mean quickly cut through.
Yeah, one of the other bits that they say, so essentially to get into so they're breaking into the mainframe, by the way, because you have to break into the mainframe.
Mm-hmm. Again,
they're like,
you
have to be invisible. And so there's this white room, and so Cameron Diaz is just dressed in a white suit, and then gets to a giant dark room where it just stands out. But the pressure plates only trigger if someone is on them for more than 2.5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, even just walking normally is quicker than that. I guess
it depends on how big the pressure pads are.
We have watched.
I don't know. It's a Mission Impossible parody, this bit. This is full Mission Impossible parody.
We have watched films that do this kind of shit seriously. Make these kind of comments seriously. This clearly isn't she's dressed in a white condom. Flipping down the hallway.
Flips through the hallway so she can land on the thing and
install
a bug into the mainframe.
Something genuinely cool that she does is because she has the two cards. She needs to press the two. She does one with her foot and one with her hand, I think.
Yeah. It's quite sexy arabesque kind of thing.
Oh, cool. It's so this film gives zero shits about looking stupid. It's just we're gonna do it. What if it looks stupid? Don't care. Gonna do it.
Yeah, they these very famous actors do look very stupid multiple times during the film.
Yeah, and
it looks like they had an absolute blast making it.
Oh, it looks so much fun. This film looks so much fun, and I think that makes this film better because you can tell that they're all enjoying themselves, and that's kind of what you need in this kind of film.
Yeah, I'm having a good time because they're having a good time. Yeah, and the plot is definitely secondary to all of that.
100%. It's kind of dumb plot. Don't really make much sense, but So a bug is entered. They get the information from the company.
Yeah, so what the bugs are, they then sort of go their own separate ways for a little bit to just sort of enjoy themselves.
Yeah, because they think it's kind of over.
Yeah, they're waiting for it to scan to show whether or not it actually has this technology that they've supposedly stolen.
Did we do the party with Bosley?
Oh, yeah, we forgot about that. I think because I was trying to talk about the plot,
That's a great
that was
scene.
a bit further, Yeah, because that's where Cameron Diaz meets the barman who she ends up flirting with.
Yeah, badly.
And so they have a date later on, aka the bit we were about to talk about.
Yeah, and you have something that you just Cameron.
Yeah, they make Bosley go as this I don't know, sugar daddy kind of character.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's got the the radio thing built into his tooth.
Radio teeth in his tooth.
So he keeps on standing with his mouth open because he thinks that will help.
Yeah.
And he's just
Yeah, it's the classic trope of the handler or inside like
not
chairman
knowing
agent
what to
having
do.
to go into the field for the first time.
It's great. And he meets with Tim Curry, who's just like expert business, owns the company that quote unquote stole the stuff. And he's like, they get caught up in like a male
a dick length contest.
Yeah, it's a dick size contest where they're just like daring each other to do more and more things, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, because it's first like eating sushi that may or not be poisonous because it's pufferfish.
Yeah, it's blowfish, isn't it? Yeah,
a blowfish.
And then it's like it cuts to them sumo wrestling into.
Yeah.
And the tooth radio gets damaged.
Yes.
So like he's got the really serious kind of what looks like quite serious sumo drummers.
Yeah.
And then it pans out and they're in those comical like inflatable sumo suits that you can get at carnivals and stuff.
Yeah. Just running into each other. Yeah, Cameron Diaz gets advice from Lucy Liu to how to flirt, which is flip your goddamn hair.
Yes, because that's all Lucy Liu really knows how to do.
That's all she needs in this film. That's all she goddamn needs. And Cameron Diaz flips her hair, and the bartender loses it. The bartender immediately falls in love.
Yeah, he was on the cusp before, and that really
it does like the weird zoom in and the love music plays.
Yeah,
it's wild
because she's like really bad at flirting.
Yeah, she can't talk when she's with people that she likes,
and they go on a date.
This episode is currently sponsored by Grey Issue 4, which is a comic book series that I've written and is currently funding on Kickstarter. It's the story of an ex-undercover cop back from the dead to take down the mob he was infiltrating. Oh, and he's made of concrete. You can read the previous issues digitally before backing too, so you know what you're getting into. You can back and get digital or physical copies, posters, sketch cards of yourself, original artwork, and you could even be drawn into the comic. It's funding until the 2nd of October, so check it out with the link in the description. Yeah, so from here, Cameron Diaz goes on a date with the barman. Drew Barrymore is staying with Sam Rockwell because she really fancies him as well.
Yeah.
And Lucy Liu is back with Joey from Friends.
Well, because she wants to leave. Drew Barrymore wants to leave, and he's like, "Oh, stay. I shake, you bake," kind of flirty, awkward.
Yeah.
Nerd
he's like,
flirting.
"You stay the night."
Yeah.
They play Scrabble and stuff.
Bosley is meeting up with Vivian, who's the CEO of the tech company.
Well, Vivian just turns up at his house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he keeps calling him Mrs. Vivian.
And she is, unfortunately, very sexually aggressive.
Yes. In a leather outfit, because it was the 2000s, so it's a leather outfit.
That's what's sexy.
Yep. Chafing.
Exactly. It worked for Velma, it'll work for all of us.
It works for Lucy Liu. I'm not convinced it works for... Actually, I don't remember her name. Shockingly.
But yeah, so they go their separate ways.
Yeah, this is where Cameron Diaz is dancing on stage.
Brilliant. She gets invited to dance on the stage. Yeah. She can't dance, and eventually, because she's having fun, eventually everyone's like, "Yeah, let's
dance," and they start like, "Go, white girl, go!"
Yeah, and the bartender that she's on a date with is like terrified of these big bouncers.
Yeah.
He's like
trying to make conversation with them, and they're just blanking him.
Yeah,
because they think her dancing shit, and he's like, "She's pretty good, huh? She's pretty good. I think she's pretty good," and they're just not saying anything.
What's Lucy Liu doing at this point?
She's trying to cook for Joey from Friends. Because is this the bit where the scene that he's filming, he's like talking to a girl at a restaurant, but you can see her from the back, and then she gets shot.
That fucking joke again, where it's like trying to make you believe that that's Lucy Liu. Yeah, because it's trying to get you to think that he's going to propose to Lucy Liu, and he's not.
But she's actually trying to make a souffle, and it's going really well until some bad guys show up and shoot up the entire caravan, and then she looks down and the souffle just deflates, and she's like, "Ah."
Solid part of the film, and genuinely difficult to do. They intercut two fight scenes together.
Yeah,
because they intercut. Cameron Diaz gets caught in the bathroom, has to fight some guys. Can't remember what music it's set to, but it's definitely set to a pop song. And Lucy Liu is getting
she's getting shot
at in the car.
Yeah,
and she's
meanwhile Drew Barrymore is just sleeping with Sam Rockwell.
Do be fucking
because her character is a very sex positive character.
Yeah,
not afraid to
to show
Drew
Barrymore's character is the wild one.
Yeah. She is DTF.
she falls in love with the bad guy is kind of the thing.
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
For a movie that's 22 years old.
Yeah, and we're literally just about to talk about it because you learn from the person that attacked Cameron Diaz that they were sent by Sam Rockwell.
By Vivian. Yeah.
And Vivian.
Yeah.
They're trying to kill everyone, and she gets a phone call to be like, oh god, where are you? And Drew Barrymore's at his house.
Yeah, and then she gets shot out the window.
So the evil turn, the villainization of Sam Rockwell's character, I love that.
Yeah, he went from like he was really nice
nerdy
and nerdy to really sickeningly megalomaniac kind of.
How fucking villainous of it in a film that has nothing but like pin drops of like random music playing that's completely non-diegetic. Like they can't hear it 90% of the time, but it's pop music. And then it cuts to him singing, it cuts to them, and he's turned bad, and it's really off-putting that he's singing slightly out of time.
Yeah.
Like, there's something really villainous about someone singing just slightly out of time with the music.
Yeah, he's super creepy. It's really upsetting.
Really creepy.
And, like, she feels so used.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And he talks about how they're all... And he's with the Vivian.
Yeah.
And the thin man who has survived.
The thin man who is still there.
I guess he's just their, like, head crony.
Yeah. Well, his plan is to use the voice detection device to search for Bosley. To search for...
So he needed the...
Search for Charlie. Yeah.
He needed the satellites from the other company. So it was all a...
all a ploy, because he wants to kill
ploy.
Charlie because Charlie was involved in his dad dying or something.
He believes Charlie was the person that killed his dad.
Yeah.
But yeah, he shoots her out of the window. He shoots her out of the window and she falls apparently to her death. It then cuts to the other two meeting up and being like, oh my god, what happened? I hope Drew Barrymore's okay. And then it cuts back to that. And I remember
it
that.
Reverses it, yeah.
I remember the gap between it happening and it reversing was a lot longer.
That would have made a lot more sense, really, wouldn't it?
it was instant.
It's so quick. And
terrified me as a child.
The bullet misses her. She falls out the window. She's hanging on naked by a towel. Falls down a lot of hills and then is just completely naked while some kids are talking about whether or not they've seen boobs before. And then she's like covering herself and like knocks on the door to get help from them.
And then rides their like dirt bike.
Yeah.
She's wearing like really short jean shorts and a weird t-shirt.
And then they get back to their headquarters and it explodes.
Yep. Bosley's been kidnapped and he's on an island somewhere because Cameron Diaz, playing the intelligent idiot, knows exactly what the birds sound like and knows exactly where they live.
Yeah. And the reason that he's been kidnapped is because he's the only one that Charlie normally calls.
Yeah. Throughout all of the TV show, Bosley is the only one I think Charlie calls.
Yeah.
Because the reason it gets violent, I think, is because they thought that the Angels or Bosley was going to hand over the data, with all the access to the other company's mainframe, so that they could, and then they'd use it obviously for their nefarious purpose without having the Angels even know. But because they realised something's up.
Yeah.
And like because they said, "Oh, it's not ethical. We can't give you that because you can't."
They do their job.
Yeah.
Really, they do what
they do everything they're told to do.
Yeah.
And so they discover that Sam Rockwell is in a classic bad guy lair,
which is a castle, which is a CG castle
on the sea.
Sea.
And how are they going to get there by sea?
It's the Chad.
With his and they're just immediately like getting ready to dive off the back because they're sick of him talking.
They're not sick of him talking. They're just wanting to go. And I like my heart, my little, as we have discussed, shriveled black heart wants to believe that Drew Barrymore character actually cares about the Chad. I genuinely want to believe that because he's sweet. He's awkward, but he's sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if he probably the first thing I would change is I'd say please stop calling yourself the Chad.
Calling yourself that.
Yeah.
But she jumps out. When they dive into the water, she's like, "You definitely wasn't the Chad," and there's like hope in his heart.
Yeah. And then they get onto the beach and they do the sexy, wet, stripping down naked kind of scene.
Again, feels like it's weird. It feels really weird now.
There's a lot of, I guess if it was an anime, you'd call it fan service.
Yeah. but it feels like watching it now. It feels like a parody.
Yeah,
because it's such an overdone trope, and then
maybe this is the one that started it.
No.
Yeah, so they break in. Drew Barrymore gets captured by Sam Rockwell.
Well, they go different ways. They split up.
Yeah.
Lucy Liu goes to the roof to disrupt the satellites.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore goes
She's going to find Bosley.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Cameron Diaz is finding Bosley because she ends up fighting a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore wants revenge.
Yeah. And so she gets captured and then beats the shit out of a bunch of people all while tied to a chair.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Incredible.
Song 2 by Blur, but I love the fact that they make the song stop when she's like, wait, hang on, this is how this is going to go down.
Yeah. Isn't it a different song? Doesn't it start with a different song and then she interrupts it and then
No, it's still the drum intro, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a different song. That would have been incredible if it just we slipped in another one.
No, that's just the drum intro that's happening, and then it's when they get back into it that and then it pauses again at one point and comes back when she's still fighting them. Lucy Liu ends up fighting the Thin Man.
Yep.
Because he's back.
Creepy man. Not the Thin Man from The Conjuring.
No.
And she's it's the birds that kind of save the day because she's busy hacking.
Yeah. He's about to stab her and the bird's like, fuck.
So she gets a chain.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely their fight is genuinely super violent. It looks
they are hacking and stabbing and yeah.
Yeah, everyone else does fancy footwork. They're trying to kill each other. Cameron Diaz, I was called a Dameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz finds Bosley locked in his cage, and then she gets a phone call from the bartender and is like, "Hey."
The reason they remember where Bosley is because his tooth radio starts working again.
Yeah, his tooth radio. She's got. I love that scene. I love that she gets a phone call and she's like, "Hey. How are you?"
Yeah, she's she doesn't want him to think she doesn't like him, so she doesn't want to leave, but she's also being attacked a lot by that Vivian Wood lady.
Well, she fights off two guys first while still on the phone to him, and Bosley's like, "Could you call him back? Can you tell him you'll call him back?" Yeah, and then Vivian turns up and breaks the phone, and she's like, "How dare you? I was really getting on with him."
Yeah.
And then they fight.
They end up outside, and the three of them end up fighting Vivian and the Thin Man at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, because Drew Barrymore has fought off. Yeah. Which the most ludicrous wire work in the film happens in the Drew Barrymore fight, because there is a point where she's in the air for 10 seconds,
just tied to a chair the whole time.
Standard, just floating in the air, kicking. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those kicks where she's got her leg out and it just travels across the room.
It's great, and then.
Sam Rockwell's there in a chopper and blows up the entire compound with a missile.
Well, that's after Drew Barrymore chains the two together with a lasso one and then just whips it around the other one. And then Sam Rockwell blows them up whilst searching for because he's found Charlie on a beach somewhere. Yeah,
and he's getting him to keep talking.
He's pretending to be the nerdy tech guy still, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, Bosley will be back in a minute.
Thinking about it, the scenes in the castle, it all felt like it was filmed. They just found places to film things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't feel super planned.
The lair isn't fantastic. It's not like he lives there, it's his house or anything. It just seems like a lair.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because he is ultimately a tech guru. Yeah. Not guru, like a tech guy.
Bill Murray comes and rescues them in a jeep, and then they climb up. They fire a wire into the helicopter so they can all climb up onto it as well.
Yep.
That is my favourite blooper, actually, just at the end, is Lucy Liu fires the arrow. Because it's and it just flops in her face.
Again, this film has amazing bloopers at the end.
Yeah, I love a film with good bloopers at the end in the credits.
I imagine that was a 10th of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But they climb up, have the fight on the helicopter.
Yeah, they're fighting on it while Lucy Liu is trying to sabotage the missile.
Yeah.
Well, Drew Barrymore just beats up Sam Rockwell in the helicopter.
Raw fight on the helicopter.
Yeah. He fires the missile, but the way it's been sabotaged means that it essentially just loops back, and they all manage to jump out, and it blows up the helicopter.
Yeah.
Charlie is saved. There's a last minute thing where they land, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's Charlie's house," and he's not there.
Well, they're really excited because they get to meet him, and then he's not there, and you can tell he's just left because the cigar's still smoking, and there's a full cup of coffee.
And that's kind of it. And then the music ends, and we get what's the ending?
Well, they go to a beach, and they're all relaxing and having fun. and they're talking to Charlie on the phone, and Drew Barrymore realizes that he's actually watching them.
Yeah,
but she doesn't want to tell everyone because she wants to keep the secret.
Yeah.
And then it ends, and we get the...
And then it ends with All the Small Things by Blink-182, while they're all dressed up as a mix between, I think, Green Day and the Spice Girls.
Yeah,
Incredible.
it's weird. They're like, considering all the costumes they had, like, they chose these really bad, cheap, nasty wigs for them to wear.
Yeah, just, like, really over the top.
That was clearly, like, whatever was left.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just fun. Like,
yeah.
This film's so fun.
Yeah.
And
ends on a high note. Great soundtrack.
Amazing. Maybe the best soundtrack because there is about 100 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're bangers.
And they all 90%, 99% of them fit. There's that one.
It's the little bit.
Yeah, but that's that's the emotion you need to understand whilst watching this era of film is that see, there's at least one scene. As far as I can remember, no homophobic or transphobic jokes.
No.
Which is impressive.
It's impressive for a 2000s film.
Tick.
Yeah.
Like other stuff. Yeah. But
and like the costume, like it is never explained why it's an African man.
No, it's just like someone that person was meeting on the. So the film, we skipped over it. The film starts with two people meeting on a plane, and then they just jump out of the plane.
Yeah, he throws one of them out the throat, like grabs him and throws.
Yeah, 'cause he's like, where's the bomb? He's like, I am the bomb. And so they just jump out of the plane. And it turns out it is Drew Barrymore in
a costume.
In a suit.
With including like a voice lowerer.
Yep. It doesn't need to explain it.
No, exactly. It's just
dumb.
Yeah.
It's not like they're not wearing that costume for like a plot point that makes it feel racist or like it's
No, it's just like it's
just weird.
Yeah, it's just really bizarre choice.
The other thing that makes it feel like a parody is that this is just not long after Mission Impossible 2 came out, and Mission Impossible 2 is the one with all the masks and everything.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I'm sure there's quite a lot of mask work in the second one.
This film just has to be satire, right? Like
it's got to be.
Like it has to be. It's too like on the nose of every. It's too like it leans into too many of the tropes to not be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Watch this film. It is maybe one of the most just outright.
It's a romp. It's a proper like
fun films I've ever seen.
So did it? So I'm guessing it held up for you guys then.
Oh yeah.
To your memories of it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching it.
Once you we are experts at dealing with the feeling of watching films from this era. Once you get over that, it's genuinely one of the funnest films I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's not good.
It is. The plot is meh. And the acting is campy as hell.
Utter maximalism.
But it's a good time. It really is.
And Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, just as good. Haven't seen the latest one.
If it's not Drew Barrymore, as far as I'm concerned, they are Charlie's Angels. Everyone else can.
It also just looked like it took itself too seriously, and
my mum watched a few episodes of it.
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes of Charlie's Angels, but the latest film that came out and didn't do well, it looks like it took itself too seriously. And you can't do that with like stupid spy movie.
It's very hard for spy movies to take themselves seriously at the best of times.
Yeah,
I think that's why Mission Impossible works quite well, because it does have a lot of comedy in it.
A bit tongue in cheek. So I think we know
out of 10.
My out of 10, an 7.5. 7.5. Charlie's Angels.
One of them, there was a horrific accident.
7. Yeah, 7 fight scenes set to smack my bitch up by the Prodigy.
Yeah, I've got to give it 8 unnecessary costumes that were brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this 7 cigarettes absolutely inhaled by Crispin Glover.
Oh no, 7.5 minutes of Lucy Liu in that outfit. Doing that because that got me.
And it works. I mean, every single person in that building is watching her at that point.
100%. Oh man, pretty high score all around. Then is what we got for this film.
Yeah.
I don't think
this was a good one.
It's wild. It is a mess. It is brilliant. Go and watch this film.
I can't believe it's 22 years old.
Yeah.
That is pretty mad, isn't it? This is older than the last Drew Barrymore movie we watched, because 50 First Dates was like 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this didn't do anywhere near as well. This film is just the epitome of the films that we talk about, and it's so good. Like, just the heart of it is when people say they don't make films like this anymore, they don't make films like this anymore, and it is sad.
And it is rare for ones to genuinely hold up to the nostalgia as well.
Yeah.
Like,
just throw shit at the wall and like make sure everything sticks and do it all. Man, this was a breath of fresh air to watch this film.
No, it was a good time.
Oh man. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, I've been Dan.
I have been Michael.
And I've been Helena.
You can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at HiltonPod. That's at HILTMPod. We're also on Discord. You can let us know how you liked the movie, and you can find us on Patreon as well. What are we going to do on the Patreon this time?
So we're going to use all the money that you get to buy every single person a copy of this film on both Blu-ray and DVD.
I thought you were going to say a costume.
Oh no. So what we're actually going to do with it is we're going to become. We're going to find someone, a Charlie. And a Bosley.
Well, isn't Charlie in this actually just like a millionaire that funds them? So we could use the money to fund actual Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu.
I want to be an angel.
Charlie's angel.
Okay, we'll be the angels, and the Patreons can tell us what to do.
Yes, perfect. We're going to change our Patreon. We are going to become international.
You need PIs that are not subtle but are sexy.
We get to wear cool outfits.
So many costumes. I'll get the tuba out. We can do sexy Yumpa.
We promise not to do blackface, though.
No, we won't. We won't do that. We have to find a creepy thin man to fight. He's gonna rip out someone's hair. We're gonna fund ourselves to do this film, and you Patreons are going to be our Charlie. We'll find a Bosley. That's the
tweet
plan.
at us at Hilton Pod if you want to be our Bosley.
Please be our Bosley. We're looking for a Bosley.
Hashtag be our Bosley. Speaking of our Patreons, I would like to thank one of our Patreons in this episode. Our Patreon is Jordan, who has been supporting us from the start. Yeah. Our patrons can suggest movies that they are nostalgic for.
And now spy missions.
And spy missions.
And spy missions.
The movie that Jordan said he's nostalgic for is one called Star Kid from 1997, and I have never heard of this before in my entire life.
Not at all. Not
a clue. I think it was like some sort of straight to TV or straight to DVD thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure it's excellent.
No idea. But yeah, if you support our Patreon as well as spy missions, it does actually help keep the show going.
Thank you, Jordan.
Yeah, no,
and congratulations.
Yeah, he did just have a child, actually.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that was for then.
Congratulations on supporting our show.
That's what I was like, what? That's weird. That makes more sense.
It's really difficult to wrap it up now we've introduced this whole Patreon thanking thing, isn't it?
No, but yeah, helping support our Patreon really helps us make this better. And we are going to start giving, it is again under construction, we are moving forward and changing the Patreon. So stick around, watch, listen
more
to
stuff,
this space.
Better stuff.
And we're going to start putting out more interesting things. Which, if you have any suggestions of what you'd want to see on the Patreon, let us know. Not because we don't have ideas. We have ideas, I promise.
Shh.
We're not scalping. Please believe me.
Anything. We'll do anything.
This episode is currently sponsored by Grey Issue 4, which is a comic book series that I've written and it is currently funding on Kickstarter. It's the story of an ex-undercover cop back from the dead to take down the mob he was infiltrating. Oh, and he's made of concrete. You can read the previous issues digitally before backing too, so you know what you're getting into. You can back and get digital or physical copies, posters, sketch cards of yourself, original artwork, and you could even be drawn into the comic. It's funding until the 2nd of October, so check it out with the link in the description.